So this is an update on the pipes I've been working on. I've been going around and I've just been blocking out, pipe shapes. Nothing detailed at the moment. Just trying to figure out the right radius and lengths of things and the spacing between things. So like what unit increments did they snap to? And it looks like they're doing like, quarters of a meter. So point 0, 0.25, zero point 0.5, 0.75, 1. And that's gotten me this far, this accurate. So they have these big pipe pieces, and then these smaller ones, which are, they have the groups ones. So I've basically just been like, grabbing these and putting them where they need to go based on those increments, and then kind of bridging them to those points for these curved ones. And then for these things, I've just been, and this isn't complete lineup, that's okay. But yeah, for these ones, I've just been, extending them until that increment point, and just trying to find that, like, round it up to the nearest increment. So here on the y-axis, which should not be y, I need to apply the rotation. It should be x. So this is 5.5 meters, or units. So anyway, I've just been pulling them all into a new blend file, and probably have to delete that one. Sometimes I've run into things where they don't completely line up, where maybe some of my snapping has been just slightly off. So anyway, oopsies. So this is kind of like my pipe library. I'll have to go through them and make like pipe connectors and make a texture to unwrap on them. And for the different colors that they have, like there's a white and a blue, yellow. For all these different colors, I think I'll have material instances rather than different textures, texture files for the different colors. I'll use the roughness and the metallic and stuff and the normal map, and just change the color in the material instances. So that will save on material calls and texture space and stuff. So yeah, some things I've had to do, or things that I've learned on this, is like for this, for example, this is probably the most complicated piece. Where essentially I've basically found where this, I found like a length on this side where it needs to be at. It's kind of hard to explain actually, but without trying to get too lengthy. So I first started off with curves. So it started off like this, where I took this and I used offset edges in as a mesh, not a Bezier curve. As a mesh, I did this, and then I used offset edges to offset up and then offset down this way, and made sure that these vertices, snaps to where they needed to go. Then after I did that, I used this tool called Bezier CAD, or I think it's just called CAD tools. Curve CAD tools. And if I select these, or all of them, and I just right click Bezier CAD, that's the Curve CAD tools, and do fillet, then I can increase that. So that's what I did first. Notice if I just leave it like that, then they are not equal, and that's probably fine, honestly, but I wanted to experiment making them equal. So actually I don't know, I almost prefer this. But anyway, I ended up going with this. I may change it in the end, I guess. But to get this, what I ended up doing was just, you know, kind of just leaving this one the way it was and taking these two and just scaling them based on individual pivot point. But then I just tried with the spin tool to see if that would get me different results. So I already had this in place. So I basically, you know, took these two and, oh come on, undo. Extrude, right click, then scale, based with individual origins on as my pivot point. Then I grabbed the top lines here where, you know, if they were to extend, they would eventually meet. So if I took this, took it all the way down, and took this and pulled it all the way down, eventually they would come to a meeting point. So I'm selecting both of these edges, that one and this one, yes, and there's a add-on that comes with Blender called TinyCAD, and it has these two tools where Auto will just make edges to that point, to that intersection point, or they have the vertex at intersection, so it just creates a vertex wherever they met. So I put the vertex there, and you can see I left that one the way it was. And so I took this, and with all of these, you know, I just copied these ones over, whatever. And this should be in the same point, right? So I'll just, you know, I'll just bring this over and snap it. So then that makes it more simple to understand. So there we go. And I'll turn off snapping. And then I just use the spin tool. So I select these ones. Why is that on? I don't ever need that. Oh, I put my cursor here first, then select these, and then use the spin tool and pull those out like that. And I found an angle that, you know, and this isn't giving me as clean results as the first time. I'm not sure why. But you could just get it kind of close. Oops, I keep doing that. It's kind of annoying. But you have to press F9 and bring it up here. But adjust it to something that's pretty close if you are getting weird results like this. And then, you know, just bridge. You do it for this bottom side and do it for this top side, and then you just bridge these two together. So yeah, anyway. So that's how I went about making that. So I'll delete these. But yeah, just determining like what the radius and what the width apart is, and just trying to be consistent with those so that they do snap up just right. There were some times where it wasn't lining up just right, like there was a slight gap. I still haven't figured it out for this one, but there is a little gap here, and I'm not sure why exactly. Oh, you know what? Actually, bet it's probably a scale. Maybe. So just flatten it on the Y. And put on vertex. Nope. Maybe on this one. There we go. And then so it looks like that's what it was. I just had to scale, flatten that on the Y. So this is the piece I'll need. And really I need to like go through all these and just make sure that they're all, you know, flattened off and So I put the measurements here using the Measure It tool. This is, I don't think this comes with Blender, but it's an add-on called Measure It. So, or maybe it does come with Blender, I don't know. But you enable that, and then under View, you have this Measure It Tools tab. You hit Show, and then you just select two edges. So I can select this one, and hit Segment. And now I can, like, click this here. I can name it if I want. I can just put in pipe diameter. Diameter, is that how you spell diameter? And I can turn text off if I want. I can turn distance off if I want. I can change the color of it, all that stuff. So anyway, this has been really handy. So even in object mode they show, and if I like change this, it's always going to change with it. Super, super handy. So I did this to just check. Sometimes they were like slightly off, like that. So I would just grab this whole thing, change my pivot to active, and then snap to this, and then GX minus 0.075. Oh, and another thing, this precision thing, like it should come out like this, precision of 2 decimals, or yeah, I don't know, yeah, decimal precision. So I just booted it up so then I could get more precise. Anyway, yeah, so just having to figure out like all the different lengths that are used in this room, and once I have, a good amount, like I think I have everything that's, if not everything, then I have most of what's needed, then I can go in now and just start blocking things in Unreal using these pieces. So that's what I'm going to do, well, not next, but for the pipes, that's what's going to happen. And then I can add things like pipe connectors on top of, where they connect, as a separate object, probably, I think. I don't know. I might just add them as a separate object. But that hasn't been decided yet. So that's really it for the pipes. And I still haven't, I was able to find a good, like matching this up as close as I could to the scale reference here. And that's gotten me some pretty accurate results with, like, the distance between all these pipes, and getting everything to snap up in the line pretty well. And I think I was able to find that pretty well. So the scale, I think, is right, as long as, we're splitting up units from, in quarters. And a handy thing I was able to do, so just changing. So if you look at subdivisions here, this is under the overlays menu, it's going to be grayed out until you change your unit system from metric to none. Then you can, so I change it to 0.25 so that my grid lines are all like divided up by quarters of a unit. And then my subdivisions of 4 essentially just means that, like, it's going to like highlight, if you look here, like this is 1 unit. So these bigger ones are like 1 unit wide. So it's just easy for me to see. Okay, 1 unit, 2 units, 3 units. So those are the settings that I used right here. But yeah, so while I was able to figure out the pipes pretty well, and I guess I still have to do this big one too. Maybe I should do that next. And there's a couple small ones like right here, but these ones are super easy. Like, I don't see these curve anywhere. They're just long straight ones with like a connector here and there. So that'll be easy, super easy to figure out. And then figure out these big ones and how they're getting their modularity from it. Like if they're just taking this one piece and like duplicating over, rotating a bit, take that over again, rotate it a bit, and then taking this, rotating it, like if that's how they're getting this, or like how did they build this big piece. So that's all for pipes. And then for panels, I still have not been able to completely define how big these panels are, because I don't think, like, every time I look at these panels, I don't think they're going off by like a good set meter, because they always seem to like squish up and, you know, ram into they always seem to ram into like the walls and things. So like over here it rams into the wall. I think over here it kind of rams into the wall too. So it's not by a certain meter, and maybe it would be better to figure out what that was and then just make my panels accordingly. Something I have noticed though, that like when I've been looking at these panels, I'll just open this. Now I copied a reference that I don't know if it's completely correct or anything. But by, you know, if this is 1 by 1 and this is 1 by 2, then these rectangles are actually quite like flatter than, like, if I pull this up, like this is what they just seem like it looks like it's been stretched in the game. So I have to figure out, like, if I'm gonna do the same stretching or just kind of go my own way. Because this obviously does not line up. So anyway, so I've been just trying to figure out how big these door pieces are, you know, and all that stuff. So how big is the doorway? And it's kind of hard to grab, but these ones, I noticed there's this detail. It's probably not here. Let me fly through. There we are. So right here, you can see that there's this panel, or this whole bit that gets cut off, so you're not seeing the entire wall piece. So it actually goes taller than that. And I found that this was the case over here as well. The ceiling is cutting off the panel, but here it looks like it's getting the whole thing. So I'm assuming that this is the proper height, and this looks like about halfway. So if I just hide this, this is what it looks like. So, oops, let's turn off snapping real fast. I'll turn on snapping with increment. Anyway, doing that whole grid thing has made snapping really easy for all this stuff. Snapping all these things together. But if the pipes are correct, and if the pipes are correct, and the spacing is good with, you know, quarter of a unit measurements, then I think everything else should be based off of that too, because that lines up really well. But I can't seem to get these panels to line up to any like set unit measurement. Like, I've gotten this pretty close, and this is, let's see, 4 units wide. That doesn't seem right. Maybe it is. So 4 units wide, 4.5. You know, 4.5 lines up, and 4.5 also includes, like, it's got the panels, but it's also got this like corner trim piece. It's kind of hard to see, but yeah, there is a corner trim there. Yeah, I don't know. These panels have kind of got me. Like, I'm trying to go exact. Even these like light panels here don't, like, they don't match up. Things aren't snapping exactly, and everything I've learned, I've been told about environments is, you know, get everything modular. And maybe they just took the actual sizes of these and it didn't end up being modular, but they wanted to use the actual sizes maybe. So, and then they just kind of crammed it all in to make it fit. But it looks like they, you know, they have this doorway, which is 3. We got 1, 2, 3. This is 3 wide. And I don't know. it's just hard to measure all this stuff. So I might just have to improvise and do my own thing with that and just make them, you know, just improvise and make my own, so that it lines up on the grid by meters and stuff. I think that would be best. So I'm going to figure out what these doorways need to be and then maybe just base it all off of that. But anyway, that update is mostly just on the pipes and a little bit about the wall panels. Anything else? Nope, I don't think so. So, yeah, just have to figure out exactly how big these need to be and just run with it. It's not going to be what's in the game. I don't know what's in the game, but I don't know what these panels need to be like in real life or whatever, and I don't think it matters that much. If it looks Star Warsy, then cool. But these, I think it's most important that these line up with the pipes, which I know do line up well. So we'll just have to figure out how to make them line up with the pipes and stuff. Anyway, I think that's it. Another rambly vlog from me. So, yeah, progress, blocking out. This is the hardest part, I think, is just figuring out all this, all the block out stuff, all the sizing, making everything line up, and then it's just, you know, plopping them in Unreal and getting it all to, and just updating those instances with finished assets that look good. So, anyway, block out on the way. Here we go.